Okay, so I'm gonna set up Beeru's morning routine, and that's gonna be the Miralax and the Prednisolone. So just get 2 bowls. That's for those two. Usually, what I do is I actually make her breakfast plate the night before. So I just pop that in the freezer for 10 minutes while I make everything. The freezer's pretty full right now, but I think I have some space. Computer 10-minute timer.
10-minute timer started.
So you can use that or, your phone or whatever. Okay, so first I'm gonna make the prednisolone. So, that looks like I need a new churu. So usually I'll put the churu in here, in this box, but I just used the last bit yesterday, so there's new churus over here if you need them. You can take any of them. She likes any of these flavors. I'm gonna get the chicken one today because she hasn't had that in a while. Okay. So we'll put it on the scale, we'll zero it out. Okay. Let's open that. And then what I usually do is I put in like 1 point, a little more than 1 gram, and you really don't need too much. I got like 1.1 something, 1.2, 1.3. That's all okay. And then I'm gonna put just a tiny little sprinkle of Neroquin. Sorry, I don't think the camera turned off when I was like fiddling with it. So yeah, I just put a little tiny bit of Neroquin. You can't really see how much I put. It's really just like a tiny, less than the white powder I have right now. If you want to measure it out, it's probably no more than like 7 milligrams or something like that. You kind of just like sprinkle it on top, just like a little tiny bit. And then I put the white powder is the Aminovast. I put about a quarter of a pill on top, or and then we're gonna put the prednisolone, which is this bottle here. You see, it's prednisolone. She gets 1.3 milliliters. Okay. So up here, these are the clean syringes, and then after I use them, I put them here, and then when I use them all, then I just wash them all at once. It's just easier. So we're just gonna draw it up. Just make sure to get all the air bubbles out, so you get the full 1.3. So 1.3. And then we're just gonna squirt that in. And then I just take a spatula and just mix it, mix. Just mix it all in. Just make sure all the powders and stuff get all mixed in. It kind of turns into a bit of a syrupy concoction. Okay, and that's it. That's the Miralax. Okay, next up we're gonna make her gravy Miralax. So Yeah, first thing is I usually put just about 1 point something, 1.3-ish milligrams of her renal food, just to, get an excuse for her to eat a little bit more renal food. Yeah, put the bowl on the scale, zeroed it out, and it's about 3 chunks. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Okay, so I put 3.5 this time. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you can see here, it's 1.4 grams. And then what I do is I mash those in there. So usually I just take the spoon, and then I mash them against the wall of the bowl, of the side of the bowl. Yeah, just mash it up. Okay, and then just make sure to get all of it off the spoon. Okay, and then we're just gonna add it until about 7.5 grams of gravy. So this is her EN Salmon Gravy. Don't use, I know I showed you like this container has like watered down gravy. Don't use that one. Use the quote unquote fresh gravy. And if you need to, you can open a new can. So usually what I do is I take this lid. I have this lid, I'll leave it up here. You just put it on top. And I just press it down, and then all the gravy comes up on the side, and then I just take the spoon and I scoop it up. You usually just have to do that like 1 or 2 times, and that should do it. That should do it. Okay. So yeah, so here's the gravy. You just kind of scoop it up the sides, dump it in, and like squeeze up a bit more, like that. Try not to get the chunks in there. The little chunks is fine, but try not to get big chunks in there. If you put a little bit too much, you can just take some out. Just try to get around 7.5. It doesn't have to be exact. Okay, so the timer went off for her frozen food. So I'm just going to take that out for now. I might put it in for a little bit longer. Right. Computer, stop. I might put it in for a little bit longer right before I feed it to her, because it's not quite... I'm going to leave it out, and then it's going to melt. So she likes it like freshly frozen. Okay. So that's in, and now we're going to put a little bit of Neroquin in there. Same amount as the Prednisolone bowl, just like a tiny, tiny bit. Yeah, so just like that. That's it. That's perfect. And then we're gonna use the rest of the. There's actually not much left in there. Anything you have left, just use the rest of it, and it kind of melts the same amount, like about 1/4 of a capsule. And that should be it. If she eats all the food that you've given her, then you don't need to give her any more Aminovast. And then just stir it up. Usually I stir it up first, because once you put the Miralax in there, it kind of like sticks to any chunks, like larger chunks of food. So usually I stir everything together first. So you want it to stick more to the liquid. Okay. Okay, so you stir it up. I kind of like press it down just to mush down any chunks that are still in there. Okay. Like with the back of the spoon, kind of just like flatten it up. Okay. And then, so she gets 575 milligrams usually of Miralax. I'm actually going to give her a little bit more today because her poops have been a little bit more solid, more like hard and pebbly lately. So I'm actually going to give her like 590, but you go ahead and give her 575 unless I tell you differently. Basically, turn this on, put this on the scale, press this button. This is the 0 out button. It'll 0 out. Open up your Miralax. I'll put this little measuring spoon next to it. Scoop some out. Then just dump it in. Okay, that's 400. Need a little bit more. And usually I just like tap it. So 570. Okay. So when you do it, okay, that's 590. That's how much I do it. If you need to remove any, you kind of just like, let's say you went to 590 and you want to only go 575, you just like scoop a little bit off the top. And for you, like anything between like 575 to 590 is fine. So even if you give her 590, it's not too big of a deal. Or 575, yeah. Try not to go over 580, but if you find it hard to dial in exactly, whatever, 590 is fine. But yeah, I'm gonna try to give her like 595, just because she's been a little bit backed up lately. Okay, so that's 600. I'm just gonna grab a tiny bit off the top. Okay, I think that's fine. There we go, 595. And then just dump that in. And then take your spoon, mix it up. And there we go. Okay, so now we're gonna go feed her all this stuff. Bring the Churu stick with you, and yeah. Okay, so here I'm going to show you how to feed it to her. She's already on the bed here, but you can kind of do this anywhere. So you take the Churu, and you kind of squeeze off a little bit, and I just use a spatula to kind of like spread a little bit on the surface. And usually the first thing I do is I let her lick it. She's kind of a slow eater, so she'll sort of sniff it, and then here she goes. She's licking it now. That's kind of just to get her started, to kind of be like, ooh, yum, 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 it's Churu time. Okay, so after she's done eating that, then I'll spread another little bit on the right there, you can see on the edge, and then I'll scoop up a little bit of the Churu mix. Sorry, the camera is like not positioned right. But yeah, so basically what I do is I scoop up a bit of the Churu and Miralax, not Miralax, and medicine mix, and I spread it around, and then I basically just give her the non-medicated Churu, and then sort of let her lick her way across to the medicated Churu. Okay, and then usually she's pretty good about it. And then all I do is, so I'm just putting it, yeah, sorry the camera's not good here, but basically I just do it again. I just put on another bit of Churu on the edge, yeah, and then so here's, usually I do about 3 times. So there, a little bit Churu on the edge, and then I just make sure try to use the spatula and scoop up as much as you can. And then here you see I'm kind of just pouring it, and then you can kind of scrape it off the edge too to make sure you get everything. And then, yeah, she's pretty good about it. She actually likes it, so she'll lick that, like that. And then usually at the very end, I just scrape up all, like every last bit, because I wanted to get everything. And then at the usually last bit, I just feed her straight off the spatula. I just put a little bit of Churu on the spatula, and then give that to her, and then she'll lick that off. I give her both sides, and Let her like that, and that's good. Okay. So yeah, usually give her the Miralax. Sorry, the Prednisolone and Churu first, and then after that, I'll give her the gravy and Miralax. This one, you kind of just like scoop up a bit, about that, like a spoonful, a little bit less than a spoonful, and then you kind of just give it to her. If she's in the closet, it's a little bit, you kind of got to squeeze in there. And it's okay if you don't put the bowl underneath. She just kind of like splashes a little bit. If it's on the bed, use the bowl so it doesn't get too messy. And so this one's easy. You just kind of just let her, you just keep scraping up the gravy and Miralax and make sure she eats it. She doesn't need to eat all the chunks. It's just most important that she gets the gravy because that's where the medicine is. This is the same thing. You kind of just make sure to scoop up as much as you can. Like you see here, I'm like really scooping it, and you can like use the spatula. Since the spatula or the spoon is soft, you kind of just like press it in there and scoop as much as you can up. Yeah, there she goes. These she's usually pretty good about. Like she doesn't have any trouble eating these usually. And so you see this is the last bit. Same thing. You kind of just use it and you just press down with the spoon and get as much as you can on the spoon and let her lick it up. Yeah. So I just try to get her to eat as much as possible. And that's it. That's it. So hopefully she's on the bed. She's been quite good lately. She's been sleeping on the bed instead of in the closet. But for just today, just me showing you, it's okay to leave a little bit of the gravy off on. And that's it. And then if it spills a little bit, that's fine. You can wipe it off. You just get a little bit of water. That's why it's just to give her her meal. So since it's been outside for a little bit, even though I already froze it, if you, I'm gonna throw it back in the freezer. But actually, you might not even have to take it out. You can probably freeze it for like 15 or more minutes, as long as you have the plastic wrap on top. I'm actually going to take it off though right now because I'm going to throw it in the freezer for just like an extra 5 minutes to get it chilled up. So when you put it in the freezer, just make sure it's flat, because if it's not flat, it might slide off the food might slide off the plate. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Computer 5-minute timer.
5-minute timer started.
Okay, so food is ready. It's actually not as frozen as I would like, but it's okay. That's okay. Usually I want it a little bit more frosted over than this, but this is fine. You just want to make sure that it's not like actually frozen, like a block of ice. So this is fine. This is fine. As long as like the plate is chilled, the food is chilled, that's all good. And we're gonna put it. Hi, Beeru. So Beeru's on the bed this morning, which is a little unique. Usually she sleeps on the bed, but like at 6 a.m. she'll like head into this corner. But I think it's because it's the weekend and we're sleeping in. I just put it right there, and that should be good. So her breakfast and lunch go here. Her dinner also goes here if she's in there. If when you feed it to her, she's in the closet. If she's like out and about, you can put it on that box that I told you about in the living room. And then her overnight meal goes here. So she can because the feeder goes off in the middle of the night, so she can kind of have a little buffet of food and kibble and stuff. Okay. Oh, and I forgot, the very last thing you want to do is fill her feeder with 45 pieces of kibble. So it's gonna be 20 pieces of the yin again. So I just count them out here. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, or 2. The little ones I don't really count. These are all fine. Some are like crumbles. You don't need to count those. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 34. So that's 35 of these. And then Purina Proplan Kibble. You want 10 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I actually forgot to clip the bag yesterday, but afterwards you want to clip the bag back up. Okay, so that is her 45 kibbles. Just put them in here. And then what we'll do is we'll give her half of a temptation and half of a greenie. And the I'll have different flavors, and you can kind of give her whichever one. But her favorite is the catnip flavor temptation. Catnip flavor greenie. So here's our temptation. I'm gonna break it in half. Usually I break it in quarters. I'm gonna just like sprinkle it on top. And half a greenie. This greenie is already broken in half. Yeah, so one of these, you can just break it in half like this. This doesn't have to be exactly in half. And then usually I take the head section and I kind of just like crumble it up, break it into a few pieces, and throw it in there. Like that. And then just mix it up. Then I'll save the halves to give to her later. Okay, just put the halves up here for if I ever need another half. And the last thing, of course, is to make sure all the bags are, all the air is pressed out of the bag and they're sealed up. This bag, you kind of just push all the air out and give it a liquid. All done. And that's the morning routine.